Hello, and welcome to another vlog. This week's theme is accessible vehicles. I'll be releasing a video on Thursday in which I talk about accessible vehicles in detail. What are they, who uses them, and why are they important? So tune in if you want to see that on Thursday, and subscribe if you want to see it. But today I want to talk about something a little more personal. Specifically, I want to talk about the different accessible vehicles that my family has had and how we came to own them. So the very first accessible vehicle we had was a brown 1994 Dodge Grand Caravan, which we purchased in, I think it was 2005. I would have been about 12 when we got it. We found it online and we bought it for about, I think it was $10,000, which we paid mostly out of pocket for. I can't remember who we purchased it from. Obviously, it was a very old van when we got it, but we were very grateful to have it. But after a few years, it started to end near the end of its life cycle, and we were in the market for another van. So we again consulted the internet and found another van. This time it was a 2003 Chevrolet Venture, which was blue. Um, we purchased that, I think it was 2007 or 2008. I can't remember the exact year. That one was $26,000. Because we didn't have $26,000, we were fortunate enough to get a grant through the President's Choice Children's Charity for $20,000, and the remaining $6,000 we raised through a community fundraiser at our local fire hall. It was a variety show. We invited all of our friends and family to that and the community, and they came together and helped to raise the remaining money. Now, that van we bought from a man in Halifax who buys vans from all over North America and adapts them for wheelchair users. And that van we had for many years and it served us very well. But obviously vehicles don't last forever, and about 7 or 8 years later it started to near the end of its life cycle as well. So again, we were in the market for a new van. So again, we went online and started looking for vans, and this time we found another Chevy Venture. This one was a beige van instead, and it was being advertised by a couple from Newfoundland. They were asking $4,500 for it, so we purchased that. Some of the money we raised on GoFundMe to help purchase that van, but most of it came out of pocket. Some of it I helped to put forward because I was working at the time, so I was able to put some money aside to help afford that van. But we ended up only having that van for a few months, and it wasn't because the van wasn't good. It was actually because we found out about an estate sale in Halifax where they were selling a 2007 Chevrolet Uplander, which was a blue van this time. And it was in very good condition. It only had about 25,000 kilometers on it. So we purchased that. We paid about $7,000 for it, and we got that, like I said, through an estate sale. And the money that we used to buy that one was the money from the sale of the beige van, which we sold to someone very much in need of an accessible vehicle themselves. And it was important that we sold it to someone who needed it because we ourselves knew the struggle of trying to find an accessible vehicle, so it was very good to sell it to someone who really needed it. Now, if I lived in the city, I might not need an accessible vehicle because I could rely on mass transit, but where I live outside of a small town, I don't have access to that. They're bringing a bus to our town in the fall, but again, I live outside of town, so that doesn't really help me. And there are no accessible taxi or bus services in this area. So that's why it's very important for me to have an accessible vehicle. And where it's very difficult to find an accessible vehicle compared to most other vehicles, because we can't just go to the used car lot and buy the first vehicle we see. We need to make sure that we have one that's reliable. And we've had our fair share of problems with our vehicles. That's what it's like to own a vehicle, especially when it's secondhand. But I can tell you we're very grateful to have had and to have those vehicles because they really have made our life a lot easier. Um, and as much as we paid for these vehicles, we did get a lot of use out of them, and a brand new vehicle would probably cost about $40,000 minimum. That's the minimum cost. In all likelihood, you'd be paying a lot more. So you can understand why we're forced to purchase used vehicles. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about a bit today was self-driving cars. And the reason I bring this up is because self-driving cars, I do consider them accessible because they're great for people who can't drive themselves because of their disability, maybe because they're blind or because they're physically disabled. Self-driving cars is something that they've been working on for a while. Google has been working on developing them since 2009. They've built a number of self-driving cars, including one called the Firefly, which they actually tested on public roads in 2015. And right now they actually have a Chrysler Pacifica hybrid minivan, which they've turned into a self-driving car. Now, of course, none of these vehicles are commercially available yet, but other companies such as Tesla also are working on it. All Tesla vehicles have autopilot on them, so the cars are completely autonomous. That being said, I know with the Tesla vehicles, they do require someone in the driver's seat to operate the cars just in case something goes wrong. But as you can see, self-driving cars are very close to becoming a reality. A lot of countries are even creating legislation for them, and hopefully Canada will follow suit. So I just kind of wanted to mention that because I think self-driving cars are cool, and I think they're going to help a lot of people. And it certainly looks like that's where the future is headed. So thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this one, please subscribe, and I hope to see you on Thursday.